Hi, I'm Jaime, and my full name is Jaime Kalman Chipko. And for the last 16 years, I've been professionally a certified empowerment specialist. And then in 2013, I became a mom. I had my daughter when I was actually at a place in my work where I was the busiest I had ever been in my private practice, which was called Inspired Healing and Awareness. And it was this really unique blend of hypnotherapy and emotional freedom techniques, which is the name of the acupressure positive psychology technique called tapping, where you're tapping on acupressure points while you're expressing the uncomfortable emotion and how you feel about it. And it's awesome. It's awesome body-based stress reduction method that you can use on yourself. And so I was using hypnosis and EFT and coaching and neurolinguistic programming and energy medicine, all things that I had been certified in for years through Healing in America, the National Guild of Hypnotists, and the Miracle Center of California, as well as just getting recertified in different specializations, each year for my continuing education units. And it was awesome. I loved being full-time in my practice so much. I was helping people heal and transform things that were holding them back in their lives. They were able to, increase their confidence and their sense of self-esteem and self-worth and be able to do things in their careers and in their relationships and just, in their lives in general that they had been holding themselves back from, or they kept finding themselves procrastinating around, or just, self-sabotaging. So it was really exciting and I loved it. And then I found out, surprise, I'm pregnant. My husband and I had just decided we weren't going to have kids. Well, we'd had some false starts. So we'd had a miscarriage at one point, and when that happened, we weren't really chomping at the bit to try again. That pregnancy too was a surprise, by the way. I wasn't so much of a planner, getting the pattern here, right? But we had both started, really diving into our careers after that pregnancy didn't, manifest itself completely. And so I just completely fell in love with this practice that I had created. And the reason I created Inspired Healing and Awareness in the first place was because, I've always been fascinated by the ability that human beings have to transcend and transform and overcome the conditions of their lives, the life situations that they feel completely, imprisoned by. But I think also because, growing up, I always had a lot of anxiety and stress and depression and frustrations and, self-esteem issues. And so I think that when I discovered, these metaphysical books by, Richard Bach and Dan Millman and Shakti Gawain and, God, I loved, did I say Wayne Dyer already? I think I did. Eckhart Tolle. These books were just life-changing. And the idea that we could not be stuck, right? That we're not stuck with stuff. We're not stuck with personality traits that we don't like, or, even belief systems that we don't want, And when I say belief systems, I'm not talking about religions and philosophies. I'm talking about the way that we see the world in terms of the thoughts that we think and the core beliefs that those thoughts are coming from. The fact that we can actually consciously choose to change the thoughts that are not serving us, that we don't really agree with when we really inquire into them, and that we could actually choose more empowering thoughts, and that those thoughts would then create lighter, more balanced, more motivating, more peaceful and loving energy in our bodies, and then that would direct our actions and the way that we show up in the world. And that we could change our behaviors and transform unwanted habits like smoking and emotional eating and just all this stuff, procrastination, being late. It's amazing what our minds can do. So I've always been fascinated by just the limitless potential of the human mind. And I'm also a sucker for miracle stories. So I really, really love seeing what's possible when we just decide that we're going to question things a little bit and really look at how we can see ourselves and our world differently. So I created this practice because I found that for me personally, traditional psychotherapy, while it was helpful to have someone listen to me and, ask me some thought-provoking questions and support me psychologically, I found that it fell short for me personally. I was looking for something more body-based, something that actually helped me shift the energy in my body, right? Because I'm a very highly sensitive person. So I feel things very strongly, very acutely. I have a really sensitive body, a hypersensitive sensory system, and I'm also emotionally highly sensitive, intuitive, and empathic. So I found myself really drawn into the world of spiritual healing, energy healing, meditation, visualization, metaphysical healing, things of that nature. But I'm really just a student of the universe, to be it sounds so hokey and so hippy dippy. Wow. But here's the thing. I've never really felt that I fit into any particular, label. I think I'm a little too grounded and scientific for some of the really woo-woo stuff. And I think sometimes I come off as a little bit too woo-woo for the really hardcore, allopathic medicine stuff. But I'm a Libra, okay? So I'm middle of the road kind of gal. I like a little science and I like a little woo-woo. So you know what? I like both. I like spirituality and I like science, and I don't think they have to be separate. So all of the methods that I'm drawn to are really about the way that we can learn to listen to ourselves, and not just the part of ourselves that worries and that's negative and critical, but how we can quiet that part of our mind so that we can get in touch with the higher parts of our mind and our consciousness that, are far more connected and empowering. And so my path took me on a lot of twists and turns. I'm certified in like a gazillion things. But my path originally started with spiritual healing, energy healing, meditation, and breath work. And I became certified in spiritual healing and energy medicine through an organization called Healing in America, which is actually the U.S. affiliate of one of the largest and oldest nationally recognized healing organizations called the Healing Trust, which originally started as the National Federation of Spiritual Healers in England by a very incredible healer named Harry Edwards, who actually he brought energy healing into more of mainstream medical institutions in England. So the mentors that I had here in the States actually were from England. They were trained there with the National Federation of Spiritual Healers, and then they created a branch here in the States called Healing in America. So I went through their program, took me quite a few years. You also had to do a 2-year internship with sponsors who were trained fully certified healers who could guide you and make sure that you were, doing solid work that was ethical and getting good results with your clients who are trusting you with their feelings and their thoughts and their stories and their bodies. So I also have a background in psychology, and so I was very fascinated with neurolinguistic programming, which is an amazing way of using your mind and your words and your feelings and your imagination to create incredible changes. And it is just so cool. I think neurolinguistic programming, it's popularly known as NLP. If you like Tony Robbins, if you like to watch Tony Robbins, he does a lot of NLP. The way that he creates those changes in the way that people think and react and feel and kind of reprograms and rewires their brains, like instantly. It's pretty rad. So I was very interested in that, and I decided that given my work in meditation and breath work and visualization, that hypnotherapy was kind of the next right choice for me. So I did become certified with the National Guild of Hypnotists, which is a very prestigious and very well regarded organization of certified hypnotists and hypnotherapists. And it's a wonderful program, again, very extensive. I was trained with the Miracle Center of California, and I became certified in hypnotherapy back in 2007, I think it was. I became certified in that. But man, when I was going through that process, I came across a technique that I absolutely fell in love with called emotional freedom techniques, also known as EFT. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it is an awesome combination of acupressure and positive psychology. So you're tapping on pressure points that are located really close to the surface of the skin while you are getting in touch with the uncomfortable emotions you're experiencing in your body. And it allows you to really just dive into it, tell the truth about it, really recognize what's going on with you, name it so you can tame it, as Dan Siegel would say. And then you're just making room in your body for some new feelings by actually allowing those uncomfortable feelings to get processed. And it's so cool. You tap out the stuff you don't want. You can tap into the changes that you would most like to make. And you can use tapping on absolutely anything. It is so diverse. And the coolest thing about it is you don't need any equipment. All you need is your fingertips. And you need to be willing to think about what you're feeling and express it as you're feeling it, and then do the tapping process. And that you keep doing that until you clear the issue, meaning that you take that intense emotional charge that you feel when you think about a memory or a situation that you're dealing with. And when you think about it now, after you've tapped on it with this very, interesting sequence that's very simple to do and takes minutes, you can actually take that intense emotional charge and you can decrease it significantly. Some people clear it completely. And this is stuff they've carried their whole life. Even physical things. People have done tremendous things with PTSD, backaches, headaches, migraines. But you can use it on anything. You can use it on financial fear and stress. You can use it to help you manifest things. You can use it to help you in your relationships. I like to use EFT specifically to help me get unstuck. Okay, so what I mean by that is, because I am such a highly sensitive person, I can be very driven by my emotions and by my feelings, by the way I feel. And feelings aren't facts. So what I love about tapping with EFT is that it allows me to reduce my stress very, very quickly. It helps me step into a new intention, something that's more positive and more purposeful. And it just helps me empower myself to know that I can self-regulate emotionally, that I can have a big emotional, reaction to something. I can get triggered, involuntarily, but I don't have to stay in the emotional discomfort. And I don't have to allow the trigger to dictate my behavior. So EFT gives me the power to make a choice about the way that I want to respond to a situation. So I don't have to just react. And for me, as a highly sensitive person with a highly sensitive daughter, that is a very, very helpful tool to have in my toolbox. So when I got certified in hypnotherapy, I also did extensive training in EFT, and I did go back and do a whole certification process in EFT again. And, I have now created an incredible practice that is this unique blend of all of these different healing modalities to help people make the changes that they want to make in their lives. And I work with people on everything from relationship issues to communication issues to health and wellness goals and issues and challenges. And I help people in terms of like coaching with like time management and goal achievement. And I help people with hypnotherapy to change unwanted patterns and behaviors. I love helping people identify the belief systems and the really core thoughts that are keeping them stuck in certain patterns that they don't like. What's causing them to attract the things into their lives, that just don't serve them anymore, and how they can change that, and how they can consciously change it, and how it doesn't have to take years of sitting on a therapist's couch year after year after year doing psychoanalysis. And I don't want to poo-poo psychotherapy because it's a beautiful, beautiful field that I appreciate deeply. I've sent my own child to a cognitive behavioral therapist before for anxiety and grief after her cat died, and she was tremendously depressed and anxious about it. And I love cognitive behavioral therapy. So I'm a big fan of all types of healing and wellness. And by the way, I'm also a big fan of Western medicine too, because science has done some great stuff, and I really appreciate the way that it's helped me. And I just feel like all of these methods are complementary, not alternative. They can be alternative if that's your jam, if you are really opposed to Western medicine, or you just want to do things very holistically and very naturally. I'm so glad that these techniques exist. I'm just very open to whatever is going to allow you to show up as your best self. That is what I support for you. So I don't have any judgments or hardcore like belief systems around if people use medication for anxiety or if they use breathing and tapping. I don't think one is better than the other. I think they are different paths, and I think you have to do the one that's right for you. I'm not a medical practitioner, so I'm completely unable to diagnose or treat or qualify anything that's of like a medical root cause, but I do get a lot of referrals from doctors and from surgical centers and dentists and physical therapists and pediatricians, because I'm also certified in pediatric hypnotherapy. I did get my certification in pediatric hypnotherapy, working with children as young as age 3, and that is just so exciting, because when I had my own child, I was using all these techniques that I use in my own self-healing with her, but I was trying to shift them to make them more age appropriate. And then I started working more in schools. I was volunteering a lot in schools, and then I actually got to be a preschool teacher for a bit, and that was so exciting. And I have to tell you that being able to share hypnotherapy and NLP and EFT and empowerment coaching with children, it's just, it literally makes me want to cry because I love it so much. And just knowing that these kids don't have to grow up believing stories about themselves that aren't true, and teaching them what this melon is all about, what this coconut can do for them. So just helping your child to like harness the power of their mind at such a young age, it's incredible. It's incredible. And so I found, though, when I was getting hired to help children with things like fears, worries, unwanted habits like nail biting and eyelash plucking and oh my goodness, PTSD, some OCD issues as well, and ADHD and rage issues, temper issues, grief and loss. My gosh. I have helped with so many things: fear of needles, fear of animals, fear of bugs, fear of the dark, you name it. What I learned was you don't have the greatest success just working with the child alone, but you have phenomenal success in a shorter amount of time when you involve the family, when the parents get involved in the therapeutic approach, when they, receive some helpful coaching from me in terms of how to communicate with their child and help their child practice self-regulating and self-soothing techniques to reduce their stress, to reduce their fears, to reduce the intensity and the frequency of their worries and doubts and self-criticism. When we start to talk about ourselves in more empowering ways, and when we work more as a family, collaboratively and cooperatively, instead of some tyrannical dictator just barking orders at your kid and then wondering why there's power struggles. I'm very, very passionate now about whole family healing and whole family wellness and coaching. So while I do still work with kids one-on-one for certain issues, I really, really recommend that you, the caregiver, whoever you may be, you get a couple sessions in there too, because it is a game changer when you and your child and your healing practitioner, your coach, or your therapist, if you're a licensed therapist and you're using these techniques, because a lot of licensed psychotherapists, psychiatrists, and medical doctors use these complementary modalities now. A lot of teachers are using these modalities now, especially in their social emotional teaching for children. But it is a game changer when you're all on the same page. It's like you're speaking your own language, and it's incredible. And you're all moving in the direction of your most dominant conversation. And if that dominant conversation is that you are here to love each other, accept each other, mistakes and all, and truly listen to each other, then if that's the dominant conversation, then your life's going to go in a pretty awesome direction. So I want to invite you to visit my YouTube playlist, my YouTube channel, Jaime Magic. It is full of videos and content, free, totally free, tips, tools, and techniques to help you be present and to show up for your family in the most calm, curious, compassionate, connected way, and how to help your child through different challenges and struggles. And I just really, really encourage you to take advantage of those free resources, because they're there to help you. Because like you, I was a parent, up all night Googling, why is my daughter plucking her eyelashes out? What do I do about that? What does it mean? Is it my fault? Right? Who helps me with this kind of thing? Every kid is different. Every person's different. So what works for one person may not work for another, but you're always welcome to try things and see, what you gravitate towards, where you're getting results. And I think any practitioner should always be willing to speak very openly, transparently, and candidly with you about your intentions and your concerns, so that, you're working with somebody who really does understand your goals and can actually get you there. So that's part of why I have such a cocktail of techniques and tools in my emotional healing toolkit, is because everyone's wired differently and everybody gravitates to different things. So it really helped me to have a lot of different approaches that I could use, with both adults and children. So I also wanted to share that I've got an incredible new offering. I am running 3 support groups at the moment for highly sensitive mothers like myself who have highly sensitive children. Maybe your child worries a lot. Maybe your child is very, very sensitive. Maybe your child has emotional regulation issues. Maybe they have separation issues. Maybe they have trouble sleeping, or maybe they're very, very concerned about things that you are thinking, oh my God, they're too young to be worried or concerned about these things. Maybe they're having a hard time fitting in. Maybe they're very, very emotional and very reactive, and you want to help them to, self-regulate and manage their emotional reactions more responsibly and calmly, and feel empowered, right? We want our kids to feel confident in their own bodies. We want them to feel good inside. We don't want them to feel yucky inside. But here's the thing. We have got to keep our own vessel clean and clear in order to help them deal with theirs. So I've been helping moms in these very, very small, intimate support groups. And they're very small, no more than 5 moms per group. And we try to group them based upon, personality and the ages of your children, so that we're, kind of talking about the same issues. The issues are generally quite relative to each other. I think that makes a big difference. And I facilitate these groups. I let everybody share about their challenges, their issues, what's their kind of like, what's their parenting trigger that got set off this week that they really want to bring. And these are weekly support groups. They're an hour in length, and they're only $25 a person. And the reason for that is because it is imperative that parents get support, because life is so expensive. And I just noticed that moms, we don't invest typically in our own support and in ourselves. We do it for our kids without asking how. We just find a way to do it. But for us, it's got to be quick, cheap, and easy, and we got to feel comfortable. So I got you covered. I really created these support groups based upon some of the support groups that I was attending. I have an amazing, amazing parent educator coach, and she's a licensed social worker who is absolutely magical. Her name is Barbara Olinger, and I believe that her parent support group, our groups are different, just so you know. We do different things. We're qualified in different areas, and our groups are quite different. But I just, myself, having had the support of Barbara's expertise and of her groups, really gave me the wings, to fly with these. So when you have a group of compassionate people who relate to you, you have a sense of belonging, and a sense of your life is being witnessed. Like your life is not going unnoticed. It is going to be noticed by people who understand, who relate, and who can validate and acknowledge you for what you are doing, and who can help you feel maybe more guided, more supported, and stronger and more clear about the things that you want to get better at or learn how to better manage or handle. So if you're interested, or you know someone who would be interested, I really invite you to reach out to me, and you can contact me at my email address, and we can speak over the phone, we can email, and you'll find my contact information in the content of this video. But please don't feel alone. Please don't struggle alone. We can't give what we don't have. So we can help you find a group and get you the support that you need. Do the tapping, do the stress relief, get the coping strategies, and just be able to fill your own cup, right? So that you can be present to your family, because you just can't show up for your kids if you're completely drained. And if every time you're with them, you're just emotionally triggered, then you're reacting, you're not communicating, you're lecturing, you're not listening, and you're accusing, you're not inquiring. And everything shifts when you understand how important connection is. And something that I learned from Barbara Olinger and Dan Siegel and oh my gosh, what is it? Janet Nelson. Oh my goodness, you guys, I could go on and on and on. But the biggest of people who have written incredible things, connection before correction. If you can connect with your children, your spouse, your family members, your coworkers, if you can connect, then anything is possible.